Hello and welcome to the nation building edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah and you're watching Diaspora Network Television, DNT. Today we're going to discuss a very important component of nation building that, for whatever reason, has been overlooked throughout I would say the history of our nation, Ghana. We're doing most other things in the developmental arena. We're building interchanges. We're digitizing. In fact, I had some visitors from the United States came to Ghana, and the digitalization of money and all that stuff, Ghana is really at par with the rest of the world. However, when it comes to engineering, which many consider, and many, including myself, consider the basic foundations of nation building, I think as a country we have completely overlooked that. And I met this young man that you're going to meet in a minute. I was introduced to him and I visited his machine shop in Kumasi, specifically at the suburb of Ahinsan. And what I saw there was so amazing. And even more amazing was the depth of knowledge that this gentleman had with regards to engineering and tools and machining and all that stuff. And yet, when you look at this young man, you see that he's not one of those that a nation flashes on TV and everything. But I want you to pay attention to the conversation and some of what went on, the things that I saw at his machine shop. And I'm sure once you do that, you'll agree with me that as a nation, if we're really serious about development, those are some of the things that we need to pay attention to. Not too much of the sexy stuff, the flashy stuff. Oh, we have clubs, we have this. People come in here, they enjoy. Those are great. But what is the foundation upon which our nation is being built? And there are many who believe that without engineering, without attention to engineering and building of tools and machines, we are essentially, whatever it is that we're doing, we're essentially building castles on the sandy beach. So without much ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Kojo Boachi, aka Sota. We'll first get into the name Sota. If I, when I hold this thing, it's metal, right? Let's see. This is also metal, right? Yeah. Okay. This is also metal. This is metal. This is also metal. And you're telling me, sir, there's a difference?
Huge difference. Yeah, we have about over 3,000 materials.
3,000 different types of metals.
Yeah, metal.
Okay.
But metal will be probably about over 2,000.
2,000 different types of metal.
Yeah. And
how do you tell the difference?
Even besides that, some companies like Crucible, they make the best metal. Omonoso coding. We have metal coding. We have color coding for metals. Each metal has its own code. Something like some ones like 4140 for shafts, 4340 for plane landing gears, 8620 for, we can't get into that, 8620 for shafts.
Wait, next time you're going to tell me that with the right resources we can produce a plane landing gear in Ghana.
If you have CNC and you have the oven that I showed, after you work on, you have to heat treat it, temper it, and then you harden it, and then you temper it when after you finish hardening, so that at a certain temperature, every temperature you set it to be tempered, it gives you the property of that machine for its application. For instance, I have the same material. This material, I have the same material, right? I can temper it to do different kinds of jobs. Where spring, for instance, has its own different elements in that metal. It's steel, but it has different. We have chromium.
So why do you so why do you think these things are not important to us?
Because we have not entered into real manufacturing yet. We haven't entered into it. Canada, Japan, when he built that steel industry, probably if he will produce steel, then these things will come in. We have low carbon steel, that's what we use for the cars, the car body and that kind of thing. And then we have high carbon steel. Some are boiler pipes, and there are different materials. We have 1000 series, 2000 series, 3000 series. The 1000 series are low carbon steel, right? And then you go up and up, and then you have stainless steel. The stainless steels are 3000 series. We have the 8000 series. We have the 6000 series. And these are different. For instance,
it sounds to me that you would be a perfect. There can be a partnership between what you're doing here and the steel plant that he's building.
Well, now I'm left with my last quarter, right? So,
you know what? You'll be amazed what you can get in the last quarter.
So I'm there for knowledge
consultation, knowledge transfer. Okay.
So if anybody wants, why should I take it to my grave?
You got it.
I'm prepared to give up.
So
still different. And we have a whole professional for that, metallurgy.
Wow.
You see, so if you don't know, then you can't go forward.
Yeah.
That is why I'm already the weld and boom. If you are welding, you need a professional welders who know how to weld. Oh, this is this type of metal, and therefore I have to use this process to weld it. Some of them we have to heat it to a certain temperature before we weld it, and then you cool it down in a certain environment. Otherwise it will break. That's why people will weld the long shaft.
Yeah.
And then they will load it so heavy. And then
and then it breaks. Yeah.
Because the welding is not good. I've trained my guys here, so they do a little better job. Yeah. So they bring it here.
Mr. Boachi, I can't thank you enough, but I can tell you this. This is not the end of this conversation. Ghana, if we're truly serious about industrialization, I think we're going to play a very huge role. And whatever little thing that I can do to make that happen, I guarantee you I will.
I want to say something. Okay. We are being pressed by our outside forces, and they have sworn, or I won't say sworn, they have said their mind.
It's actually a swear. They've sworn
not to let us get into manufacturing. No way.
Yeah.
They say they will fight with their last breath.
Well,
because any country who will develop will depend on its manufacturing parts.
Yeah.
If you can't manufacture your own machines and parts, you still depend on somebody.
And even though when you say this, what gave you this impression that you think they've sworn not to let us?
This guy, Harvard Nicholas, he is a professor in I think philosophy also. He said we create the ideology, and then we just set it and work on it. And they have international hitmen. If they come to your country and the leaders they don't want to accept, we find a means to eliminate them either by coup or by poisoning, or if it doesn't work, we just put some falsehood on you and they bring in, they call the soldiers something, and they will come and fight, and then, like they did to Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. So they will press you, don't get into manufacturing, especially South Sahara. They have sworn that for us, they need our raw materials. And we have a part to play in an international trade. Our portion is to grow the raw materials for us, or we supply the raw materials, and that's it. They don't want us to go anywhere.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I can say this better in P. You say, "Ope ebo atuabo anumano." No, so good. So we know what they want.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing about it?
Okay, the raw materials, we can't say we are not going to trade with you. No, that is out. The whole thing is we own it.
And by the way, sorry, let me explain this for our English. They said as you are looking for a rock or a bullet to shoot a bird, during that same process, it too is looking for a place to fly. That's the tree adage. Ope obo ato akobo anomana no no so pe baby obitu ako. How does that relate to here? If that's what they want, as they are planning to make sure that we will not manufacture, we will not get into manufacturing, we should be that bird on the tree, right? We should also be thinking about how we're going to avoid that and so
okay. Guinea, I think Guinea recently they bargained with these international business people. I think they were getting 21% or so. Now they bargain with them again. They got 50%.
Well,
so we need to bargain well. We have the raw materials. If you don't want it, keep it. Magazine, when you go there, if they tell you the price and then you give them, you offer something which is not very good, they will say, we don't give our raw materials food to eat. It's there, let them go. Now they will go to the other African countries and convince them, and then they will, what do? They will put restrictions on us.
Interestingly enough, the conversation has come all 360 back to my number one point.
So we have to.
Do you know what that number one point?
UN.
African Union.
That's right.
African Union.
It's in my writing.
If African Union can say that
put together
all 55 countries, this is our bargaining point. Do not do this. If you do this, this will happen. So that person that's coming to Ghana, if he doesn't get this deal, he say, you know what, keep your stuff. I'll go to Rwanda too. And when he goes to Rwanda, he sees exactly the same thing. Guess what? They will finally play ball.
We have given ourselves to play with us.
Oh my goodness.
Newman, the bargain for we have Canada Japan was in 3%. I didn't want me 3%.
Yeah. So, Mr. Bachi again, thank you so much. Right. All right, welcome. We're joined by Mr. Kojo Wachi, right?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
The name, there's a name Soter, S-O-T-E-R. I've always wondered, where is that? What does that mean? Where did that come from?
Oh, okay. It's a nickname that was given to me at high school.
High school, Soter. Okay. Yeah, it looks like you one of those high school troublesome people, right?
Oh, I was a cool guy.
High school, if you're not troublesome,
cool guy,
they don't give you nickname.
But there was a friend who was called Nkansa. He was a journalist. He passed away some time ago. You know, at Catapult time and Roy's time,
Right.
He stood with the Peru people.
So, okay, Soter.
So he gave me that name, Soter.
All right, no problem. Welcome. Well,
thank you.
I'll tell you what, the reason why I'm so amazed by what you do, I've visited your shop, machine shop in Ahensan, suburb of Kumasi.
That's right, yeah.
And so I wanted to talk to you some more about machining and engineering.
Okay.
So to begin, why don't you tell us your name, what you do, and a little bit about yourself?
Okay, as you said already, my name is Kojo Boache. I'm an engineering consultant, both in manufacturing, machine design in manufacturing, and asset life cycle management in Canada. But I also practice it in Ghana in a small scale.
Okay. When I came to your shop, I saw a lot of machines, and which we're going to show the viewers. On the face of it, it doesn't look like much. For all people know, oh, here's somebody putting metals together. And how significant is what you do to nation building?
Actually, every product you find around, almost, I can say 95%, is manufactured by technicians, engineers, artisans all together. Everything is built at the machine shop. And the tools, the machines that are used to cut these parts and put them together, we call them machine tools. And those are some of the machines that you found in my machine shop. There are a lot, but this is a few of them, the basic ones that you found in my machine shop. And to tell you the truth, to get into manufacturing, every advanced country started that way. And the most important thing about machine shop or industrialization or manufacturing is the ability to have metals. So metal is the ultimate importance, something that you stress on. If you don't have metal, you will not go forward. That's why we've been beating about the bush here and there. So metal is very, very important in every civilized country. So after you got the metal, then you have to find your tooling, the tools to use, and the basic ones are knives, axes, hammers, chisels. These are the basic tools you have to have. And we use these machines before they were the blacksmiths that were producing some of these tooling. But as time went on, they were using machines. They used blacksmith uh, technology to produce machines that will produce it in a very better way and bring in better tolerances.
Okay.
And then from the iron, uh, they got into steel. They see how they found out that if you add some elements to you alter the properties of each metal or the metals, you can produce different kinds of metals for different purposes. So this
Talking
is where
about
it
different
started.
type of metals, how many do we have?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Talk about you mentioned different type of metals.
Okay.
To me and to many lay people, metal is metal, that year. But how many different kinds do we have?
How many metals we have?
How many kinds? Yes.
Okay. We all know about mild steel. The mild steels are very common because it's ductile and it can easily be worked upon. We have rods, we have sheets. Iron sheet is we use that to make cars because when there's an accident, it can kind of fall without breaking to hurt the people, and it's also manageable. My steel we use some for construction work. The iron rods we have in the market, they are all my steel. Right? You can use it for so many things. Then from the mild steel, we go to carbon steel. Now from wrought iron, uh, you produce iron, pure iron ingots with mostly iron and little carbon in it, and that one is very ductile. You can't use it that much.
All right.
So you add.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know that because it's your trade, you can get into all the technical nuances. And for our viewers, what they want to know is why is it that simple things like pounding fufu, right? Or where cocoa, you see, when they're drying cocoa, they'll put it on a bed and then they'll be turning it with their hands. When you look at simple things like that, like opening the cocoa pod and all that stuff, we've been doing it for decades by hand, manually, the same old. And then the Chinese come to Ghana, and you and I, we've seen videos how they've made simple machines to make it those type of chores easy. Why can't we do it? Why do we have to wait until we always have to wait until somebody else does the machine before we take money to go and buy it? When we have people like you.
Okay. At the University of Science and Technology, that my time we call it UST, there are so many projects there. I know one of my mates, they build a machine to squeeze out sugar cane to get the liquid from it. It's there. It could be used. We started in the when I was serving at the university. We started Indotech '86. We built some machines to they use the solar to cook rice and all those many things. You have a lot of projects there. And as I said in my other interview, Anansi Glue, they came to you, they went to USC to get a formula, to build the glue, to make the glue. And then Apino Soap also did the same thing. We went there. There are so many research that has been done. But the problem is, how do you bring it to the market or produce it in large quantity? It depends on the policies that are actually put forward by the politicians to encourage the people. Now in Ghana, we have been trained, especially the students, been trained that when you come out, you'll be looking around for someone to hire you instead of you opening your own business and using your knowledge to build something. The Chinese that you are talking about, their government have encouraged them that way. And that is how they build their economy, by getting into producing from tools to machinery and that kind of thing. They produce it, and before we were saying Chinese products were not good, inferior, but through improving upon it gradually, then you come to a standard. But Ghana, we are not encouraged that way. We have the brains. I'm telling you, we don't. Not that we don't. If you go to Kokompe or Kumasi Magazine, they use chisel and hammer. The machine that they will produce, you'll be shocked. Right? But there's no encouragement from the government, from the politicians. They all look forward to abroad, overseas, to get the finished products or get the foreign investors to invest cheap way. We don't want to put in effort to do it ourselves. We don't want self-reliance.
Okay, so somebody, a talking about politicians,
Okay.
I spoke to one and about the same thing, and his response is that if we try to produce these things, it'd be more expensive than to just take the money to buy what somebody has already produced. What do you say about that?
Why is it so expensive? We should have asked him that. Okay, now we have aluminum. Now we have been able. I think the iron has been found also in the north. We have manganese. We have. Okay, let me bring in this example. Ghana has railway lines that are no more used, and this modern years we can. It's a big asset for Ghana. But now we are selling it to foreign companies, while Canada, Japan is building a steel plant. Instead of keeping it and then recycling these scrap, at least we could have made something out of these steels. We have manganese, and railway lines is mostly iron, and the base element is manganese. You add manganese to it and some carbon and some elements, you get your railway lines. Why is it that the politicians are selling it? And if you need the raw materials, if you are bringing it to the country, the duty that you pay on it is almost twice the cost of the item.
Yeah.
So how can you compete with the foreigners? You can't.
So you're telling me the railway lines, the old ones that we didn't use, that right now we're building new railway lines, lines.
Right.
We could have recycled the old ones that are there, rather than just selling it cheap to somebody and then spending money to go and buy new ones from abroad. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they sold it. I asked Canada, Japan this question.
As you're speaking, look into the camera, please.
Oh, okay. I'm just somebody came on. I'm just starting him off. I spoke to Canada, Japan. He said that he mentioned the company's name. He said that company is his competitor. They are selling it because they care for only the money. They don't think. They don't think ahead. No vision that we also need these materials in the future. We could do the railway lines ourselves. We can do it, but that's why I say majority of the issue lies on the politician. We can
We
do it
can
ourselves.
build. What else can we build? It sounds to me like you think we can build anything metallic.
Why not? What the white person can overhear. You know what one engineer told me? We were flying to US in the company's. The company has a plane, a dancer group of services. They sold some dries even to LLM. And when the company flying to US, and he asked me, Kojo, how come there are smart people like you in Africa, but you don't develop? Right? They know that we can do it. When we come here, we do a lot for them. I've worked for so many companies, even Department of National Defense in Canada.
When you say when you come here, meaning where?
When we come to Canada overseas, US and Canada or whatever, Ghanaians are very, very good. Very good. Some are chief engineer. I went to Vanada I was working for Newmont. They have a company there. And the chief engineer there was a Ghanaian. We do a lot. But in back home in Ghana, they're encouragement. And they all want to import.
Okay, so you've mentioned encouragement. What
Yeah.
would you need from the government? I mean, any Ghanaian government, and this is beyond partisan. The government, if a government wants to do, how would they encourage the engineering machining sector to build our tools and machines for us?
Example, there was one government that came, a soldier, Canada, a champion. He said, Operation Feed Yourself. And he encouraged Ghanaians to do it ourselves. And that is where Apino soap came. You know, the soap that was called Don't Touch Me. Ghanaians put some effort in there to do something. And then we children, I was a little grown, but the children started building their own toys. They were using empty milk cans. Then we sat on the concrete blocks, and then we just use water and then grind it, and remove the ends and cut it and use knife to cut all these parts, and they will build a very nice toy. Some were planes, some were Mercedes Benzes, so that is some of the encouragement. He said, produce your own food.
Okay.
Right? But now the government imports them. For instance, we have that much fertile soil. And I read one time that we were short of maize, and the government has given import license for people to bring in maize. Abro, you see, we are importing abro to Ghana. Why? And then so many things we import, and it's of no use.
I want, if I became president right now, and I ask you, how do we mechanize? How do we build our own tools and machines? Take me from the beginning. What would you tell me?
Okay, I will first bring in some policies for us to be self-reliant. And the things that we don't need and can be produced in Ghana, I'll put embargo on them. They had wanted to do one just recently, and they mentioned steel. I said, are you these guys crazy? We haven't finished building our steel industry, and if you say we will put embargo on steel, then how are you going to survive? For instance, we import poultry feed, but they grow soya beans at the north. And these my machines that I have built, we extract oil from the soya beans, and the cake is used for poultry feed. Now I use it to make a jungo, palm oil kernel, and the cake
Wait a minute,
is used
you
for
created a
feed.
machine that
That's right.
uses palm kernel oil.
That's right, and the cake is used for
at the
feed.
shop that I came to.
That's right. They use the cake for poultry feed. Now the government is importing cheap poultry feed into the country. So it's competing
you know what this tells me? It looks like we're taking the easy way out. And correct me if I'm wrong. If I invest in you producing machines that will do nika, for example, or palm kernel oil and all those things, initially it'll be expensive. But as we patronize your business and you keep improving on it, it becomes cheaper over time.
That's right.
But we don't want to do the dirty work and cost money now to position ourselves to build it later
it's much cheaper to just take the money and go and buy it from somebody else who have produced it. Is that a picture?
That is why we cannot go forward, because we just sell our products, our natural resources, go overseas and buy their machines or products. It's cheap way. Now, if you will invest it yourself and try to be self-reliant, there are mistakes you will make. Even today, the Toyota and all these big companies that produce cars, they call the cars back. They will find some errors and say, "Oh, okay, we are calling it back." At times it might be breaking, at times it's breaking, maybe probably a seat belt or something or transmission. They call it back and fix it. So always there's an error there. Now, if you take the cheap way, this is what you are missing.
Yeah.
One, you feel you are saving money, as the politician told you, but the initial capital is high. But at the end, you gain. First, you gain what? You can produce your own parts. So you kind of supply chain in material management, you have control over it. You can produce your own parts and fix the machine. And secondly, if there is a need to modify the machine to meet environmental changes, right? There's so many people, maybe the machine is producing, maybe the capacity is 100 pieces per hour. Now you need to modify the machine. You don't have to go and look for a better machine elsewhere. You can, with your engineers together, you can modify it
because
easily.
all those people who are building the machine, they did try and error too when they were starting, right? Like Toyota. How Toyota came about.
Oh, Toyota. Okay, Toyota was built by a carpenter's son. Carpenter. The guy was a carpenter.
A carpenter,
right? But let me finish.
Toyota.
Yeah, let me finish with this one, and then I will come to that. So you can modify the machine to meet your current need, and everything. You have the parts and everything, so you have control over it. But now you bought the machine from outside. Now you use it, you don't have even spare parts. Which even the magazine, the Cocoa Pastry magazine features, they know that if you don't have the spare part, don't bring in that car, because it's going to be, after some time, it's going to deteriorate or damage. So every industry or every industrialization, you have to find, the first key is to maintainability, how you can maintain that particular machine. If you don't have any programs in place to maintain that particular asset, don't go and buy it. That is what we do. We go and buy it.
So if I'm a politician right now, the guy who helped me donated big money for me to get elected.
That's right.
He's an importer, right? Now, why should I patronize you, give you money to produce things from the scratch, when that guy who helped me become president or get into government, he can import it very quickly for us?
Okay, they want fast solution, but there's nothing like it. Every nation is a quantity issue. They want fast. It doesn't help. What about you, the politician? You are just there for 4 years. You are gone. Then you leave the country in a pit.
All right. So how many? What is to connect the dot between producing our own tools and machines and the employment situation in Ghana? What impact on employment would that do?
If you're producing your own product, I mean, you can employ more people than importing. If it's a finished product, from the beginning to the end, it has been finished somewhere else, and they brought to you as a finished product. All that you need is 5 people to operate it. This is very limited, right? But if you start from the beginning, for instance, we have steel industry. You hire people there, so many of them, and then they produce a steel. Now you have artisans you train. They know today the machines you saw in my shop. We have digital ones. We call it CNC, lathe machine, milling machine, saws. We have reciprocating saws, and we have what we call horizontal saws. We have so many of them. Laser cutters, laser beam, and so many things. So these guys should learn the modern technology, And we have robots to do the welding, robots to spray, where there's safety involved, because if you weld, it impacts your body, your eye, and all those stuff, and you breathe all these fumes into you. So now they are using robots to do it, and then the
What
painting
about
too.
what about this notion that machines take jobs from humans?
Well, it's give and take. It's give and take. You can produce more, you can produce good quality, that kind of stuff. But you have to make the man also work in a different way. They don't have to sit down. That is why when I learned robotics at Humber College when I came into Canada. And I found out Japan has 350,000 robots and US had only 35,000. Right. And the reason why they were controlling it was that they didn't want the robots to take man's job. Otherwise, they will come and sit home, their crime will, increase and so many things because we are idle. So they were controlling it. So as the robot comes, I think we are smart enough to share the responsibilities with robots and human beings. So that is where I can now they are using
What about
AI.
foreign interference in why we don't build machines and tools? Is it only because we don't want to make the right decision, or there is there is some mysterious big brother hand playing here?
You brought a very good. That's why I'm laughing. If I need your product, if I need something from you to build my country, do I, encourage you to use it yourself? And what am I going to do? You see, so that is the question. So the foreigners, they will show you how to enjoy fish, right? They'll catch the fish for you, but they wouldn't show you how to uh, build a net and fish it yourself. Build a net, build a boat, and fish it yourself. If you do that, they are going to suffer. So they will do everything to convince you that, oh, okay, you are doing. That is why when we go to IMF, they add some what do you call it, some conditions, conditions to it. Oh, do it this way, do it that way. Otherwise, we won't give you. And then they push you, and then you accept it. And then you still be in their grip. They will be using your raw materials to build their country. So because of that, they wouldn't encourage you to use it. They wouldn't encourage you. This professor in economics, he's a renowned professor. He's called Harvard Nicholas. I think one of his videos is spreading all over the place. He said to allow Sub-Sahara to get into manufacturing, we will fight with everything we have not to let them do that. Because immediately they do that, they use their raw materials. We don't have anything. The gold, the diamond, the cobalt, the iron, the whatever. Now, Africa, why do we say that we have about 30 or 40% of world natural resources? And everybody is coming to Africa. The Chinese are here, the Americans are here, the Europeans are here, Russia are here. They always invite the African leaders, because they all want to have a grip with whatever we have. Now, why would they teach you to use it yourself? They won't. And they're afraid of that.
Okay, so what you're saying, I think some of these social media jokes, right? I read one, and they said when God was putting all the natural resources disproportionately in Africa, and people from a different part of the world were complaining that, I mean, it's a joke, right?
Yeah, I know.
Complaining that, God, why do you give all that, put everything in Africa and not put some with us? And God's response was, you wait and see the kind of people I'll put on.
Yeah, I've heard that joke also.
Okay. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. How can we get out of it?
Okay, these are very, very sensitive issues that if you need to try to resolve it, the foreign forces will take you out. Africa is a country we started when before the white man came, we had tools. We were using knives, we were using arrows, bows and arrows and everything. and especially the Ashantis. And they descended from the north. They could sense where gold is, from Timbuktu, they were trading in gold. That's why they came down, they go to Ashanti, they found out there's a lot of gold there. And they hung on there. And my mom told me when they were kids, uh, the amount of gold trinkets that you have shows that you are a beautiful woman. So she showed me her earthen box that contains some ornament that was given to her when she was a kid. We had all these, and then we know how to use tools. Now, what you're saying is other
Are
foreigners
you an
coming in.
Ashanti guy?
Sorry,
Are you an Ashanti guy?
typical from a royal family.
Okay.
They were supposed to make me a king, and I say, oh, at my age, they should leave me. I have only my last quarter left, so let me enjoy and go away.
Okay.
Okay, so
All right. Go ahead.
I'm from Kwaso, Ejisu Kwaso. Okay, so what you are saying is that the tooling we had our own way of making tools. We were fighting before the white men came. We use these war machines that we have. The little one, it may be so primitive, but still we did have them. So we had the raw materials over here, and we were using it until the white men came. They found out that wow, these people are sitting on this. They don't know. Not that we don't know, we knew, but we didn't have the technology, to process it the way they also struggle to find out. They started this long ago, and as the saying goes, every civilized country is built on cruelty. They started fighting thousands of years back, and through improving themselves, they have found this. And then they came to us and they found out they used some other things to bring us under their control, also to take what we have. So it's not that we are inferior or anything, but instead of, the Chinese have advanced because their civilization is too, it's a lot. Indians do the same.
But you see, I still want to take you back to your machine shop. Okay. What can you do from that shop, and what kind of encouragement do you need from the Ghana government to make you reach your highest potential?
Okay, that is the idea. I came down. I designed the machine here, I came to Ghana and built a prototype with Ghanaians because I knew that I would be importing the machine. So I would be building it in Ghana. We built the prototype in Ghana, and the man who even encouraged me, he asked me to do that. I saw they were bringing these machines that were made from China and India to my shop to be repaired. And I found out that they were using the materials they were using were not very good. It could soak oil, and within some few years, maybe 2 3 years, it started breaking, and we have to repair it. You couldn't weld it. They were cast iron, made of cast iron that contains more carbon and to soak the oil. So the man encouraged me to build one for him, and I built. He said, okay, he needs about 20, but the man passed away. So that is why I got into that. Okay. Now, what I wanted to do was to bring these machines to Ghana, display them, find a place to install some of them, and people will come in and they'll go and borrow from the banks, to buy this. And people were telling me, don't go to the politicians; they wouldn't help you. So my point was not there. So they directed me to one D1F. So I went there. The man was so impressed. The technical advisor was so impressed about what I've done.
One district, one factory, right?
Yeah, one district, one factory. And at the Jubilee House, there were one lady, I forgot her name. She's from Canada, and there was one guy who was their president. They look at me and say, what are you doing at abroad? Come to Ghana because, your product, we need it. We need people like you, like everybody tells me, even politicians. I know one guy, oh, what are you doing here? So they will all give you the encouragement. So I went to one if the man said he would, tell that lady who was the president or over there was a lady, MP. I don't know, you guys may know. They booked an appointment to see her. I went there, the woman looked at me, she didn't even give me a seat. He looked at my I was standing with her. She was leading me to her office, and she stopped. And then he looked at me and said, "We can't help you here. This thing is not gonna." I said, "Why?" He said, "It's a finished product. We want some people with idea that we can develop." And I said, "Okay, so what is your goal? What are you doing? What do you do normally? What do you do with the idea or I because you asked us to come here and then." Uh, she was giving excuses and said, "Okay, then you have to go and see export import bank, and they have the money to uh, to promote this because they will encourage the medium-sized companies to do that." I went there. I managed to get there the same day, and I was sitting at the receptionist. A lady came. She's in her 20s. She came and stood in front of me and said, "How should I? How would I help? How should I help you?" I said, "What is this?" I stood up and I said, "Okay, this is what I was directed by when you wanted to come to this office for this and so." She looked at it and said, "Okay, write an application. One of our managers will come and look at it. That if it's accepted, we will put you on file. And when these medium-sized companies come, we will encourage them, to buy your product." I said, "What is going on?" I pick it and I never went to them. So I installed the machine somewhere and then invite people. We advertise it. We install one at Agricultural Engineering Service Directorate in Accra, it's government. So they were so amazed about it. So we advertise it in two papers. The phone numbers we use, they crash. So many people, but the price, and then the mere fact that the product is a new product, they haven't seen that before. They wanted to see. So I installed one at Incaria for them to see,
Okay.
and people were talking. So my point was to introduce the machine to the people so that the people themselves will borrow some money and buy it, and then I will, move forward and do
Continue
other
to
stuff.
produce it.
That
Okay.
is why my money, I spent about over $300,000 in it, US dollars in it.
I saw a Chinese guy at your machine shop. What do they? Do you have some of those clients?
Oh, okay. He has a manufacturing facility that makes steel wool. You know steel wool?
Mhm.
Silver.
Okay.
The wool they use to polish silver. When
Okay.
silver gets dirty, he makes steel wool, and he built his maintenance orders. When there's any maintenance work to be done, and he needs machine shop, he comes to our place and we do it for him.
Okay.
So
Finally, let's talk about engineers that our universities churn out. How come we have so many graduate engineers, but we still can't build machines and tools?
okay, the first place, it comes down to the businessmen and then the entrepreneurship. That's why I said on the other time, we are importing finished products. So in terms of manufacturing, the students don't have anything to do. All that they have to do is sit at the office, become what we call purchasing agents. Engineer, we need this and that. This is broken, and he fixes it. That is why I say there's no encouragement there. We bring in the finished product. The students we are producing, they can weld because before Nkrumah built the technical institutions, applied sciences. We have technicians, we have welders, and that, and the field backhoe, steelworks, they were doing a lot. But now all this, when they go to the field, they are looked down upon. The cost is very low. The engineer who came for the university, he doesn't have anything, but he sit at the office, he can't even do the job. And these artisans will be doing, and he'll be
Because
given
they
more
learn
pay.
theory instead of practical.
That's right.
So
No,
what's
they
the
don't.
difference between an engineer and a machinist? Those employees I saw in your shop.
Okay, engineer designs. He has the conception. You start from the concept. This is the issue, and we need a machine to build it. So you engineer, you sit down, and then you plan. When I was a kid, I fell in love with machines, and the way I started building machines, I start from the prime mover. Where is the energy coming from? And then how does it transfer from one member of the machine to the other to the apply to finish the product. So you, the engineer, will put in your mind, put it together, and use your ABCD, that is our drawing, to draw it. After you draw it, it's on paper. Nothing is done. So you have to specify this area, use this type in the drawing. That is how I say it's our language. On the drawing, you say this area, use this type of metal. The size should be that, the size should be that. And you go deeper than that. You put in the tolerance. You see, in this slide, whether it's a slide fit or interference fit, or it's loose or what, you have to put everything on the, we have a language we speak on there. And then when we take it to the shop, the artisans or the machinists, he also knows the language. So he will read it and go in and pick the metals and cut them with the machines you saw. Cut the machines and assemble them. He assembles it and then test it. He tests it and say it's okay, and the engineer will just, come and look at it.
So typically, if you had 100 people to work on building machines and tools,
okay,
how many would be engineers and how many would be artisans and machinists?
Okay, in Germany, they have engineers and, with the professional, they are 20%, 80% are artisans.
So 20% engineers, 80% artisans.
Artisans, that's right. Because they actually build the country. Because engineers put in all these things, ideas, and and then
so in ending, let me ask you a simple political question: can Ghana develop into our full potential without developing our own tools and machines?
No, because you know what? I said it before. If you go in and buy finished products from abroad, now you have to go there and buy the parts to feed your machine. Then you have to bring an expert from there to show you how the whole thing is. And when it breaks down, the supply chain, there's time elapses that actually affect your production. I went to this company, Jabin oil mill, and the engineer, I talked to him, he said they have ordered a part from India, which has taken about 3 months, they haven't received it. So they had wanted me to produce those parts for them. I said, oh, no problem. They use it to process palm kernel oil. I said, no problem. But they didn't sign any contract with me, so I stopped. Okay. You see, so
okay.
So if you are not able to produce your own parts and you abroad, there's so many things you lose, and you lose your hard currency that you have saved. You spend it, you give it to some people, and when you have it and use the machine, it's deteriorating, and our maintenance programs are poor. We don't, it's zero. We don't maintain. We practice breakdown maintenance. We don't have preventive maintenance. We have productive. We have breakdown maintenance. We have preventive maintenance, and then we have planned preventive maintenance. And before even that, within the preventive maintenance, we have predictive maintenance. You can predict that this accident is going to happen. Then you plan against that and fix it. So all these things we don't put in place. So we buy the machine, use it, it breaks down, then we're waiting for parts. And at times, we call foreigners to come and fix it for us. And we are wasting our resources and money.
Well, Mr. Kojo Wachi Sota, your nickname. Thank you for your time. But before you go, quickly.
Okay.
They say the future is IT. Okay. The future is AI.
That's right.
When you try to get us to go back to the basics of building our own tools of machines, aren't you taking us backwards?
No. Okay. Let's see something. Now, if we bring in these modern machines, now we haven't trained anybody. We don't know how it works. We bring it here and we watch it. There's USC has bought a CNC machine. It's sitting there around now, maybe 5 years now. Nobody is been able to operate it, and it's there. So it's necessary not to start and sit down. Okay, you start, learn the basics, and move forward. If you go in and bring all these complicated machines, you have programmable logic controllers all in there. You have electronics and all these kind of things going there with programming. How much experience do we have to get into all this? And then we talk about digitization. I was talking to somebody now. Digitization is good, but digitization is built on a structure. You can't say digitization. You should have something and you digitize it. And if you don't know what you are doing and you bring in digitization, you train people to digitize, they come home, what are they going to do?
Okay.
In our present situation, infrastructure, fine. We are building roads. If it's me, let me tell you, I won't build. If I'm a politician, I won't build those, what do you call them? The
Interchanges.
I won't build it.
Why?
Because the traffic that is in the city is caused by these truck drivers and the taxi drivers. They don't have any place to park. It has not been structured well. So anywhere on the roadside, they just park and it blocks the cars. The cars cannot go. So if you if you do dual carriages, right, from place to place, and you build stations for these guys, the roads will be smooth. And then the amount of money you use to build the interchange, you will build roads to connect the regions, the farming areas, to bring in agricultural products, to bring in everything, to connect the city. And the movement of the people will be free and the money will be, moving around very well. But you build interchange, when they pass through the interchange and they descend, they still face the one-way roads, and there's also another traffic all over the place. It doesn't help that way. And we're comparing ourselves with countries that have advanced and then they are building these interchanges. We also say we are going to build it. We build it and we are locked. All our monies have gone.
It
We
sounds
didn't use
like
our
you're telling us we're building castles on a sandy beach, but we're gonna have to end it here. So, Kojobuachi, thank you so much for what you do. Keep doing it. We hope that Ghana, one point, will get to a point in your lifetime and mine when we take engineering seriously from the ground up. Thank you.
You're welcome.